First, learn to use this. Then I'll teach you to use this.
Say hello to my little friend!
And I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Are you ready for a war?
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to play a little bit of action there. I saw some of the commentary about my my playing. I just want to say that
I told him in advance there was going to be comments.
That's totally fine. Like, hey, I want you as the viewer to look and say, man, I could play way better than you, right? And then get in here and show it now for two.
I accept your challenge, and tonight I'll drink to your bones.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome back to the Hidden Dagger Inn. I'm your host, Alpionu, and today we're going over the outstanding archetype and racial showcase Intrepid just gave us. So without further ado, let's dig in. My initial impression of the massive Ren'Kai frame and its striking green hue perfectly aligned with my expectations for being a badass Invera. The prospect of a highly customizable race that you can go ahead and manipulate small or large tusks or anything else that you might want to tweak is a non-issue, as thanks to the exceptional character creator, it left me without concerns about the model's design. Once again, we saw the greatsword on the fighter, and while proportionate and looking like a weapon of mass destruction, left me yearning for more weaponry options such as a great axe or maybe dual-wielding one-hand axes. The greatsword also showcased a weapon tree highlighted a little bit later in the live stream, was also intriguing, and it gave you a vast selection of weapons that you can use with an impressively structured system, promising an engaging exploration of ideal weapons and abilities to complement your primary skills and playstyle. Visually, the game exceeded what I had envisioned. The animations for the fighter spells were particularly striking, presenting a level of gore that was vivid yet did not detract from the mystical powers displayed by mages and clerics. The capabilities of the fighter evoked memories of the Battle Rage archetype from Arcage, especially with moves like Charge and the impressive Leap, which cast a shadow of fear over adversaries from afar trying to cliff cheese. Moving on to the auditory experience, the sound effects that the Ren'Kai made during his battle cry were especially impressive, and they also will vary depending on the race you select, adding a layer of immersion and uniqueness. The goblin noises in particular were incredibly well crafted, meriting a special shout out to Tori and Andrew for their exceptional work. Now let's discuss a key aspect of the fighter's abilities, focusing on first, momentum. Accumulates 1 combat momentum upon striking targets. Completing a weapon combo yields 3 combat momentum, plus an additional 1 for every 10 points the caster possesses. Combat momentum unlocks progressively stronger bonuses determined by the combat stance that you're in and the amount of momentum you've accumulated. Other than the staple mechanic of momentum, the first ability the fighter is going to be able to use is called Blitz, and it's a staple ability with diverse utility and being able to jump and leap up on top of ledges, immediately making a ranger shit himself. Up next is Brutal Cleave, your go-to area of effect. Naturally, its effectiveness increases with the number of targets within its range, allowing you to deal more damage and build momentum more rapidly. It is important to note that Brutal Cleave shares a cooldown with Overpower, but landing a hit on the enemy with a weapon combo finisher can reduce the cooldown by 8 seconds. This move is often regarded as a fundamental AoE in your arsenal. Moving on, we have Overpower, that deals direct damage and induces the Shaken status, which can potentially cause an enemy to trip. As per Intrepid's request for feedback, I'm hopeful they'll introduce methods to amplify the likelihood of causing the trip effect from the Shaken, either via a skill or weapon trees. Relying solely on the, quote, small chance as dictated by the RNG gods doesn't exactly thrill me. Then we have one of my personal favorites, Maim. Intrepid knocked it out of the park with this one. This skill offers considerable utility by unleashing a conical effect that inflicts significant damage. Moreover, it deals 100% more damage to targets that have been recently tripped from the Shaken effect. You can also allocate a skill point to modify it into a more linear attack, making it narrower but significantly extending its range. Battle Cry is the next ability, and by itself it deals no damage. Instead, it releases a fierce war shout that energizes nearby allies, priming them for combat and inducing a state of fear in nearby enemies. Additionally, for each invigorated ally with this skill, the user gains 5 momentum, making it an ability I find particularly appealing. The upcoming skill, Whirlwind, is highly popular among fans. It is a channeled skill that allows users to move around freely during its activation. Additionally, while spinning, the user becomes immune to any major disabling effects. It also offers a possibility of incorporating a finishing move to deal extra damage. However, I'm somewhat undecided about this feature, as I believe skill points might be more effective allocated elsewhere. Cataclysm has evolved significantly from its original melee combat form, and I'm pleased they took the feedback seriously on this one. The improvement is substantial, and they deserve credit for listening and developing an excellent new ability that's set to become a core component of the fighter's arsenal. It generates a wide-reaching AoE ground attack that inflicts shaken status, while also offering flexibility to change direction. You're completely rooted in place while casting, added a strategic element to its use. Next we have Rupture, an ability that inflicts damage while also applying a debuff. I'm particularly fond of this one, despite the somewhat grisly effect of making it appear as though enemies are bleeding out. I find it thoroughly enjoyable. It's especially effective against mobile opponents, who will suffer not just the immediate damage, but also increasingly severe harm over time as they move, thanks to the stacking mechanism. Rupture is designed to work hand in hand with Brutality, enhancing weapon combos and extending finishers to apply 5 wound stacks initially, plus an extra wound for every 10 stacks already affecting the target. These wounds significantly impair healing up to 50% and further increase damage by affecting the target's damage resistance. For those looking to intensify their assault, integrating greater Brutality into the mix allows Overpower and Brutal Cleave to impose an impressive 10 wound stacks. This not only amplifies the debuff's potency, but also its strategic utility in weakening and overcoming adversaries. The ability known as Crippling Blow is a classic hamstring technique used to slow down targets in MMOs. A staple since the genre's inception. It's significant to underscore by its enduring presence over time, proving invaluable for catching those attempting to flee. Lethal Blow is a finishing move that inflicts damage proportional to the enemy's missing health, scaling up to a maximum of 300% of its base damage. Additionally, there's an augmented skill in the tree named Consuming Lethal Blow, which restores health and mana equivalent to 50% of the damage dealt beyond the enemy's remaining health. Blood Fusion grants the ability to return 100% of the damage dealt and convert 50% of that damage into mana over 6 seconds. Additionally, activating it when your health drops below 50% provides a 25% increase in damage mitigation and healing received for its duration. The strategic timing of the skill is crucial for maximizing its benefits, so essential not to use it prematurely. Lunging Assault, on the other hand, falls short of expectations for me. Its range is so limited, it feels like I could reach further into the refrigerator. Essentially, the modest version of Dash, offering little more than a change of direction and movement. The sole advantage of this ability lies in the immunity to hard crowd control effects while in use, but it requires precise timing to leverage effectively. Leap Strike is definitely my top pick among the skills. Closely mirroring Arcage's behind enemy lines, it's an action skill that offers tremendous flexibility in the ability to cover distances quickly. The gap-closing abilities of a fighter are formidable. Engaging one in combat means you should be prepared for a serious confrontation. Attempting to flee won't do you any favors. This isn't a situation where running like Forrest Gump will help. These next 3 abilities bear resemblance to those observed with the Rangers, essentially functioning as stances. The initial stance is a form Ferocity, enhancing your attack speed and allowing for faster use of abilities. This pairs effectively with Blood Fusion technique. And then we have Celerity, which enhances your running speed. Pretty simple and to the point, making it advantageous in specific scenarios. The third aspect, known as Form of Fluidity, currently increases your resistance to crowd control by 40%. It's pretty good. I would like to see an option somehow to move it up maybe just a little bit higher. Then we have the so-called God mode, also referred to as Exert, which is likely to be toned down due to its overpowering nature. This mode grants the benefits of all 3 forms, with the added advantage of being a CC breaker as well, and offering complete immunity to CC. However, it only lasts for 5 seconds and will completely deplete your momentum. There are some enhancements to consider when activating Exert. You can also rejuvenate your abilities, reducing all of its cooldowns by 1% for each point of momentum you have at the time of casting. Additionally, there's a perk available named Unstoppable Exert. This perk not only clears all the intense crowd control effects, but can be activated at any time, even while under the effect, providing a strategic advantage. After witnessing the full extent of the fighter's capabilities, I must say this has become one of my most favorite streams. Not only did I get the chance to see my beloved Ren'Kai in all his magnificent hulking glory, but we got to experience a variety of devastating abilities and combinations, and highlight with their dedication and class diversity. From the graphics and the sound to the overall gameplay, I'm thoroughly impressed and eagerly await the opportunity to dive deeper and test it further. There were some good post-stream statements and questions. I'll make sure we're going to go ahead and talk about them real quick so you don't miss anything. The minimum recommended system requirements for Alpha 2 are now listed on our website under the Support Knowledge Base section. Simply research for specs to find them. Please note that these specifications are subject to change as we progress towards the game's final release. Also, will the battle cry sound vary based on the character race? Steven says yes, the battle cries will differ depending on your character's race, and this will be able to apply to incantations from various classes. Along with diminishing returns will be applied based on this type of status effect. However, this approach may be adjusted as we continue development, and nothing is set in stone at this point. Another topic brought up was, what is the maximum duration of a buff? Currently, Steven says, the longest lasting party buff is 30 minutes, though there might be a longer lasting effects from consumables and edibles. Another question that was asked was, how are we going to repair our ships at sea, and how much are they going to cost if they get destroyed? He said there will be minor repairs at sea if you have the materials, I guess similar to Sea of Thieves and Atlas. However, if it is destroyed, the cost will be great. And when asked about the presence of PvE or PvP servers, Steven confirmed there will not be any PvE or PvP servers. His game is all about PvX, and that's the way it'll stay. Steven confirmed approximately 7 biomes are set for Alpha 2. Also, regarding shipbuilding, you can still construct and launch ships even though you're not near a completed coastal node. Ships are constructed and launched from harbors regardless of citizenship status. When asked if it was possible to block or parry spells, his answer was yes, through the physical shields and or sigils, which can influence the effectiveness of spell blocking in various ways. It is important to note that these details may change in Alpha 2. The full extent of experience debt also will be 20%, and that's a full level of experience debt. Loot susceptibility will also vary between 20 and 30%, influenced by the type of bags you might utilize, along other factors and progression elements that might reduce this impact. Stating again that experience debt from dying is about 3 to 4% per level. It can be mitigated by a cleric. I also want to say that my name is LP on you, and I love clerics, and I could use a pocket healer. One of the key points that really stood out to me during the stream was Steven mentioning their ambitious hiring objectives. They aim to meet these targets within the next 60 days. Steven also took the time to express his gratitude for our ongoing support. He did acknowledge the challenges of overseeing a project, recognizing that it's not suited for everyone. While he doesn't claim to be a perfectionist, he is committed to ensuring the game reaches a quality level satisfactory to Alpha 2 release and beyond. And as always, if you're still watching, I'd like to say thank you. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, as it really helps me since I'm a new channel. Also, if you're looking for a community and you want to learn more about the game, I'm your man, and you can catch me in my Discord, stop by anytime and have a chat with me. Or you can catch me at TwitchTV every Saturday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you guys, and have a great day.
Work complete.